There was one last result that we didn't talk about because it was I'm going to use the word embarrassment. 90 points to nothing. Northampton Saints at home to Gloucester. And before we get a reaction on that, what a brilliant time to bring in an absolute superstar, not just for the Saints in his last season, also an England star as well, having been to 2 Rugby World Cups. Such a great privilege to have Mr. Lewis Ludlam. He came on earlier this morning to chat about all the Saints' success, that win on the weekend, and then everything to play for, mate. Take a look at this one. This was good fun. I caught up with Lewis Ludlam. Lewis Ludlam joins me from across the pond. Lewis, my man, we go back a long way. I remember you as, I think, like a 14-year-old kid. And look at you now, England international, Northampton Saints Centurion. You're now off to go and play in Toulon in the top 40. I mean, first and foremost, mate, how are you doing? So good to have you on the Rugby Rundown.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Appreciate you having me on, and it's great to see you doing your work across the pond as well. Things have been going well. Obviously, Northampton's a really enjoyable place to be. It always is when you're winning games, you know that. So, I'm enjoying my rugby a lot at the minute, and looking forward to a new challenge also.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Saints then this season, because you've just been insane. And talk about insane, that result of the weekend, 90 points to nothing against Gloucester. Now, for you and being part of the Saints team this year, that must be fantastic, but it also is a slight bit of worry, isn't it, in the Premiership for a team to be beaten by 90 points? What was the reaction after the game when you just absolutely annihilated a team?
I think we probably spoke a lot emotionally in the week. Obviously, we came off the back of a tough loss in the European semi-final. So we said, if we want to be the team we want to be, it's about getting back off the canvas and really ripping into Gloucester. How I didn't expect it to be that sort of result. And I know they're looking ahead to semi-finals and whatnot. So rested a few lads. But I think we had a real focus on ourselves, and I think the pleasing thing was we defended really well, and obviously you've got to attack pretty well to put 90 points on the board. But I think sometimes in those games you can sort of second guess the team they put out, or all of a sudden it comes into a bit of summer rugby and the ball gets chucked around a fair bit and you can concede a few. And we managed to keep them out for 80 minutes as well, which was a pleasing thing. Obviously, there's not a massive amount you can draw from that. So I think the focus has very much just been switched onto this week. I mean, we're in a fortunate position now where we qualified for a home semi-final, but the challenge now is to really define our spot at the top of that table this weekend.
Now, talk to me about Franklin's Gardens. I know myself, I know you've known for many years now. It's a special place. It was rocking in the sun on the weekend. It'll be rocking again on a Friday night, the 31st of May, for that home semi-final. I mean, how special is it playing at the Gardens, particularly this year when you guys have been on fire?
Oh, it's been unbelievable. I think we've got quite a relatively young group coming through, so I think the crowd and the energy that we get playing at home is something that we've tapped into quite a lot this year, and it seems to bring the best out of ourselves. And a lot of that's been Friday nights. It just feels like there's a different buzz around the place. So the chance we get to run out at home in a semi-final on a Friday night for what's myself, Courts, Alex Waller, those two absolute club legends at home for what definitely is the last game at Franklin's Gardens is something that's going to be really special, and I'm sure will be quite emotional as well.
Yeah, man, it's hugely emotional. I mean, there was some good photos coming in of like a end of ceremony type event at the end of the game against Gloucester, getting your shirt. I will come on to a minute about how much it's meant to you being at the Saints, but this group seems so together.
I think this year is a real sense that if we're all pulling in the same direction and we win at the weekend, it's a whole squad that's winning at the weekend, and I think the team gets a lot of energy from that, and the fact that we've created a culture like that, and the group is so close as it is, I think has definitely showed on the field.
Now you've got one more game against Bath. You're top of the log at the moment. one more regular season game. That is important because you want to stay top. Top means that number 1 plays number 4 at home and number 2 plays number 3 at home. Has there been a sort of conversation just like you want to get the job fully done before you go into those semi-finals, or is it kind of like, no, we're done, we don't mind now?
No, the job's not done. Not because we're worried about who we're going to play in a semi-final. I think this team now is keen. Whoever turns up, we're ready for a scrap, and we're looking forward to it. But to get the chance to finish top of the table is a statement itself, and to chase that, I've never been in a team that's finished top of the table, and that's something that's a great opportunity for us. And there's a potential with teams not out yet. There's a potential that there might be a few lads rested for the weekend, but I think now whatever team steps on the pitch, we've shown such depth this season that it's going to be a competitive side regardless, and we're going down there fully wanting to win the game and win it well. So, but performance obviously is always got to come first, and that's what we're going to be chasing this weekend.
Now let's bring it now to you, because lads, you've been part of the Saints furniture now for quite a while. Well over 125 performances as well. I was checking in because you never know those stats, whether you've had more or even less, I don't know. But and 25 England caps all in your time when you've been at the Saints. You now move on to Toulon in the top 14 next season. Sum it up. I'm sure you've been asked a lot of times, like, just how much has it meant? I know because I see it. I've been around you in those years. Like, how much it's meant for you to play for Northampton Saints this year, and particularly play with some of those legends as well in your team.
Yeah, I mean, from 14 years old, playing at Franklin's Gardens has always been the goal. It's always been the dream. And for my family, being Saints supporters, it means a massive amount to my friends, my family, and every time I've stepped on the pitch, I felt like I've been representing them. So yeah, it's been an unbelievable experience, and the fact that we've got a great chance this season to finish it off really well is made it that much more special. And yes, it will be sad to leave, but I think the fact that I'm able to leave the club on my own terms and pursue different opportunities, and it's something that's you don't often get to do in other works of life, to know that you can play at other parts of the world and have a job and be secure. It's something that is obviously exciting as well. So I think when that opportunity came up, I think it was a really, really tough decision and something that I thought long and hard about, but I felt like now was the right time to sort of to make that decision. Like I say, the opportunity to go play in a different part of the world and test myself against different opposition, it just felt like the next step in my career.
Now, talk to me just briefly. Have you done some French lessons? Are you eating a few more croissants? Are you having a little bit more red wine, mate? I mean, how are you are you developing a bit of a French culture in you? Like, I don't know, you're very English, so I'm just concerned about you, mate. This is a foreign ground you're going into.
Not quite yet. I'm staying off of croissants and the red wine for obvious reasons. So yeah, but no, trying to learn the language as much as possible to make that transition easy. The last thing I want is to go into a team where I can't express myself and speak my mind, and also try and take on a leadership role as well. So I think speaking the language is important. But yeah, I'm looking forward for what's to come. But in a way, it doesn't yet really feel like I'm leaving the club with what feels like a lot of rugby to play, and it feels like what's in our hands could be the best yet. So yeah, that's sort of part to the back of my mind. The focus has very much just been winning games at Northampton for now.
Man, it's going to be an incredible end of the season. I just know whatever happens. I think just before you go, though, lads, I want to just get, because a few of our listeners will obviously be amazed to be speaking and hearing from an England international in the Premiership. You have been part of an amazing team with some incredible players, the likes of someone like Big Courtney Laws, to be someone in like your position as well. I suppose for a back rower out there, particularly this American audience, what would you say have been some of the key components that has allowed you to develop and perform so well? And where would you say is like key ingredients for like a back row player?
Cool. I think for me, I've always had great people around me. So my family have been unbelievable at supporting me through every step of the journey. I had the likes of Jonathan Fisher when I was coming through the academy, taking me aside after training and working on parts of my game, and sort of guiding me through that process. So I owe a massive amount to them, the likes of Chris Boyd, for giving me the opportunity and just creating an environment that I was able to grow in. I think something I got bogged down with a lot as a young player is having a point of difference, and sometimes when you do that, you can focus on one thing too much, and you can obsess over it. And while the point of difference is important, I think you'll find that quite naturally. I think years ago I tried to work on breakdown stuff, and as an under-20s player, I was seen as a breakdown specialist, and I got to a point where I was seen as a defending back rower, and I was there to get through work and make tackles. And then later on in my career, the carrying side's coming to fruition a little bit. But I think for me now, it's just about getting through as much work as possible, and that's become a key part of my game and sort of my point of difference. So I think if I had any advice to younger players, is don't try and force that, and I think that will come quite naturally. And the quicker you can figure out who you are as a player and as a person, it makes everything on the field a massive amount easier.
Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. We could talk for many more hours, but I know that you're pressed for time. Thanks so much for joining us on the Rugby Rundown. Good luck this weekend against Bath, and then good luck for the playoffs, man. I know Corbs and I, we're a little bit biased as former Saints players. We wish you all the best.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Cheers for having me.